Welcome to Canned. This is actually our second time getting together. First time, unfortunately, the audio didn't work.
Man, this was our first. This is our first time getting
our
together.
first
man.
time? Okay.
Man, the first time we got together, man, it was whack because somebody didn't know what they were doing and didn't hit the record button on the audio. And
Not the greatest producer in Atlanta. Not the greatest producer in Atlanta.
This joker was whack.
And it was three of us. It was three of us. One is not here tonight, but it's all good. He will be with us from this point on. But the second time around is hopefully better than the first time.
Anyway, man, it's your grown man here, John Bill, man.
It's your boy Steve Robinson, and we are here as Canned. What does Canned stand for? CAND. The cool ass. What do we say? The cool ass nerdy dudes podcast.
Cool ass nerdy dudes. We workshopping this title, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all chime in and let us know if y'all are digging the title.
No doubt.
If y'all are digging it, give us a thumbs up. If you're not digging it, if you got a better suggestion, put it in the comments. We're open. But if you don't have a better suggestion and you like it, man, canned it is.
Canned it is, and let's tell you how we came up with that. What's going on, John B? You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You
Kind of
start
introducing this thing. Let's introduce this thing, man.
Man.
Let's talk about this thing from here on, because you know what? From this point on, we are going to be the truth.
Yeah.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's what we're about here. And we're coming from a more lower middle type vibe, because I won't say a lower middle type vibe. A lot of brothers and sisters don't get the exposure they need, because as I won't say middle class, I'll just say in the middle, we have to work harder than anybody in America, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The rich get everything given to them. They not given to them. Excuse me. If you're not necessarily middle,
No, you said it right. The rich get everything given to them.
Well, they do.
The rich,
but they can also afford what they get. They can afford
the rich get the rich don't pay taxes.
Right. Well, I say that and I agree. But also the rich can afford to do what they want to do, and then there's
and the poor
get everything given to them.
Don't pay taxes.
Right, and they get everything given to them. And that's no offense, man. I mean, do what you got to do. Play the game. Do what you got to do. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
But the middle class, I feel
folks,
in America, are the hardest working people in America.
This whole country
work for everything. We're not rich enough. We're not rich enough to be able to afford everything we want, and we're not poor enough to have anything given to us.
Hey man, this
So
built
we
on
have
our
to work.
backs. Everything is built on the backs of us, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, man. I make no apologies about the fact that I'm cynical when it comes to billionaires screaming for tax breaks, and I'm just as cynical when I want folks screaming for more welfare handouts.
Right.
I'm cynical.
Give me.
So,
Give me, and we don't get that. We don't get that privilege. If I want to hold on to my house, my car, I'm not rich enough to say, hey, I can just chill. I'm not poor enough to say, hey, somebody's gonna give me something, so I'm good.
I have a college student right now, and I make just too much money that I don't qualify for. He doesn't qualify for a Pell Grant.
How about that?
I make just too much money to where he can't get a federal Pell Grant. Mm-hmm. But I'm not balling.
Right.
I'm just, but it's yeah. So we're here to talk about we're here to talk about things like that. But we're also here to talk about black men's health. We're here to talk about our finances. We're here to talk about relationships.
Yes.
Fatherhood. What it means to be a father as a black man in America.
Damn good fathers.
What it means to be a responsible citizen.
Yeah.
What it means.
Everything's not gonna be blackity black.
No. But I mean,
I feel we are black.
But we are black, so we got to speak from our perspective.
So a lot of it's gonna come from our perspective. I'll say from that perspective. But we want everybody to chime in. I swear, we want everybody. I don't give a darn what your race is, what your culture is, what your religion is. We want everybody to chime in.
So we want black people and colored people.
We want everybody. We want everybody to chime in. Sometimes it's gonna seem like it may be a pro-black and blah blah blah. Sometimes black people may get mad at us because we may come from a place of non-liberal. I know most black people are liberal, and that's no problem.
Are we?
I think so.
I think more black people are conservative and don't realize it.
I agree. They're conservative, don't realize it, but you can't admit it in this day and time. You can only admit it during certain times.
Yeah.
Because if you admit it during this time, oh, I'm conservative. Oh, you're a Trump conservative. Oh, you're a MAGA conservative. And you know what it is. And the thing is, conservative is not necessarily. A lot of us don't understand what conservative is.
Yeah.
Because again, when you come at it with conservative, that means you are a Republican, you are a Trump Republican, you're a MAGA Republican, and no disrespect to my brothers and sisters that are. I'm not mad at you. My thing is, if you come with any, you are? Wow.
I mean, I'm not to the point where I'm ready to fight anybody, not or disown or not invite you to the barbecue or the point where they were saying uninvite your MAGA friends to your house and all that foolishness. I'm not that, but no, I'm mad at my MAGA folk.
Okay. I look at it and I say, black people are, in my opinion, in America, are the most divided race, divided people in America. We can't afford to keep dividing. We cannot afford to say, okay, because you're a Kappa, you're an Omega, I don't like you. Because you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, I don't like you. Because you like, it's so many things that divide us. It seems like, my white partners, they be like, yo, you voted for Trump, you voted for Kamala, let's go drink a beer. Nope, not us. If you voted for Trump, you're a sellout. You're a racist. You're kissing up to the white man, and therefore delete me. I don't have anything to do with you. I don't give a damn if you're my blood brother, sister. I hate you. And that's where we are. We cannot afford to keep dividing.
We can't afford to, we can't afford to do that, man. But at the same time, man, we have to keep we have to have dialogue.
We have to have dialogue, but my thing is, why can't we have dialogue and fix the issues in our community instead of saying because it's national, we deal with the national aspect of things. We don't even deal with the national aspect. I take that back. We look at the national aspect of things and we divide based on that. We need to come back to what's local. We need to deal with our local politics. What's going on with our city council? What's going on with our county commission? We need to deal with that.
All right. So you mentioned something right now. Okay. So let's talk about something local that's going on. So here in the Atlanta area, I know we're global. Let me ask you one quick
thing, real quick before that.
Yes.
Are we gonna talk about what we're here for before that, because we didn't get it all out? But go ahead.
We kind of did, man.
I want to get it. I want the pilot to be like, hey, but go ahead.
It's gonna all come out, man.
Because I want them to know what we are going to. We this is gonna be the truth.
Yeah.
We're gonna be the truth.
Nobody's off limits.
Okay.
Nobody's off limits. Nobody's off limits. And so right now I want to get straight into so here in the Atlanta area, we have lots of metropolitan areas that make up the Atlanta area.
We do.
So there's a city here in Atlanta called the city of South Fulton.
Wow.
And I'm calling it out right now. And so just because you black, I'm not rocking with you. Just because you black.
No doubt.
And what the hell is going on in the city of South Fulton right now?
Well, it's not just the city of South Fulton, John. But that's important.
I want to talk about I just want to talk about this with Mayor Khalid.
Okay, let's go there.
In the city of South Fulton,
let's go there.
And the ethics and the audacity and what's going on right now. You have a situation where the mayor of the city of South Fulton has been stripped of basically his mayoral powers
because he felt that he had an open check. He had a blank check to do what the hell he wanted to do for that city instead of doing for that city. He got elected like most of our politicians, we elect them hoping that they are going to do something for us. That's what we're hoping, correct?
Correct. You know, they're supposed to.
Right.
We elect them to so they will
So there's many variables.
to make our lives better.
Right.
That's the whole point of putting people in office, to hopefully make our lives better.
And there's many variables. And I guess I'm glad. Let's talk about it. But what I get sick of, let's start here before we go back to the city of South Fulton. What I get sick of as black people, we don't vet who we work for. Who we elect. What we do is say, hey, well, they're black. We need a black person in this position. Oh, we need our soror. We need our frat brother. Oh, I'm voting for John because he was a babysitter for my daughter. We don't vet them and see what their actual politics are about. We don't see what their actual experience is about. We put people in place because they're black.
Or, in this case, we put somebody in place because they were different and anti-establishment. And just
like
because
the president, huh?
just because you're anti-establishment doesn't mean that you are competent for the job.
Well, it goes back to what I just said about, I put my soror, my frat brother, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We don't vet, we don't say, well, let's look at John. John went to Clark Atlanta University. He majored in political science. He became an attorney, a civil rights attorney. He fought for the civil rights of whatever he fought for. He grew based on his experience. This is what we need because he's going to fight for this city. He's going to help this city grow or this county. And that's what we need. No, we say, hey, well, let's just put somebody in there because they black. I don't have a problem with you putting black people in. My problem is what we do is say, let's put a black person in, and they get in and they don't have a plan.
So let me ask this question.
And he obviously doesn't have a plan.
And so I don't know,
His
man.
plan is let's just get in here and kick it.
Now, I'm not a voter for the city of South Fulton.
It's not just the city of South Fulton. But this is the hottest thing now. I agree with you.
So with the city of South Fulton, I was not a voter. What were his qualifications?
I don't know. I don't know the guy. That's why I hope from now on, you and I and Kevin, when we get together, what we're going to do is say, hey, next week we're going to talk about this. We can go do our research. But I don't think he had any based on what I see. He didn't have any. His qualifications were he was popular. That's the problem.
My understanding, and this is, so I had a very good friend who has since passed away, who was a very good friend of the mayor.
Okay.
Of that mayor. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how good of a guy this guy is and yada, yada, yada.
That's what we do.
And even then I asked him, I said, okay, but what are his qualifications? Because the only thing that I knew that he was running on was that he's different from this other mayor that everybody was tired of. Mm-hmm. And, but just because you're tired of somebody doesn't mean that, they were a bad mayor. I'm not defending who was there before.
But does it not go back to what I just said earlier about we put people in place because of popularity? We don't put people in place. We don't research and say, hey, this guy or this girl.
That's the American way, man.
It is, but unfortunately, it's
voting
not
on popularity.
You're right, and it's not working for us.
This is America.
I agree. It's not working for us.
It's always been a popularity contest from high school elections to the presidency.
Right. And is it working for us?
No, it's not working for us.
That goes back to what I said. Let's stop with this. That's my soror. That's my frat. That's my babysitter from back in the day. And look at somebody who's qualified for the position and somebody who's actually going to do something for our city, for our county, or for our state for that matter. We keep putting people in for the wrong reasons, and it's a lot of us as far as being black, and I know people are going to call me a sellout because I keep mentioning black. My thing is I love my people, I love my heritage, but I get sick of us putting people into positions because they're black, and they get into position and they don't have a plan. It's just like we're good because now we have a black person in this position, and now we're just sitting here like this, and we're cool. We deal with it. Instead of saying, no, F that. They're not qualified. Steve, they're not doing anything for our city.
It sounds like you're anti-DEI, Steve.
You call it what you want. You call it what you want. My thing is, I'm pro bettering my city, bettering
Yes.
my council, my county,
Yeah.
bettering where I live. We're worried about Trump. We're worried about everything but where we are here in this little microcosm of a city, of a county. We don't worry about it. The cable news networks, the CNNs, the Foxes, they have us so focused on national. And we don't really realize and understand how important local is.
Man, local is where you live. Local affects your school board. Local affects
Your judges.
Your judges.
And we don't do anything. That's
everything, yeah.
upsetting, man. That is, I don't care what anybody says about me. Call me what you want. But when you sit here and you have judges that will, you have a community. You have a community. Community is drug infested. The community is gang infested. The community is just infested with everything that we don't need, and we don't say, hey, what can we do about this community? We get hoodwinked by what's national instead of saying, hey, you know what? In order for your community to be better, you have to have a good police department. In order for you to have a good police department, you have to have a county commission or a city council that backs that police department. In order for you to have a good city council and county commission to back that police department, you have to have citizens that are educated. And with these citizens being educated, that means these citizens want to sit on their porch and not hear gunshots. These citizens want to sit on their porch and not worry about their car getting broken into. These citizens want to do anything in their community, go to a restaurant and sit outside. Go to the north side of Atlanta. You can sit outside at just about any restaurant and you are safe as hell. Come to the south side, you can't do that without hearing gunshots. Without leaving this restaurant and your car is broken into. Without leaving the restaurant and you're possibly going to get robbed.
So, what do you think the number one issue is in that needs to be addressed if we're talking triage right now in the black community?
That's where I was headed. We need to start vetting. We need to get away from this. This is how they treat black people. Police aren't out here shooting black people like the media makes it appear. For the most part, the word is white people think logically, black people think emotionally. So
That's a generalization. I'm not going to let you get away with that.
that's fine.
Okay. But go ahead.
But our media plays us because of our emotional thinking. How? Because they'll take one police shooting, one. Now, being in law enforcement, do you know how many encounters I have with citizens daily? Just me. So imagine me. Then there's 1 million police officers in the United States that are having encounters with citizens every day.
Mm-hmm.
Then we take that one police shooting that may be bad, and the logical thinker says, hold up, let's see what happened prior to the police officer shooting this guy or jumping on this guy or stabbing. The emotional thinker says, I don't give a damn. They shot him. They shouldn't have shot him. Every shooting is not a bad. It's not a bad shoot. It's not.
But they should have shot him in the leg, man.
Right. And I know you're being facetious, and that's cool, because my thing is, there's so many things that citizens can do within their community. But again, we worried about Trump and Biden and Kamala and Bush and whoever else instead of worrying about our communities. And I know people, when you sit up here and come at me because you're going to come at me because you're so emotional instead of logical, I'm already expecting it. I don't care at this point. I don't care because I'm in the community. I'm in the hood. I work in the hood daily. I see things that you don't see. And that doesn't mean because I see a white officer shoot a black man, an unarmed black man, it doesn't mean that I'm going to always agree with it. It doesn't mean I'm going to always disagree with it. because we have to stop with the emotions. We have to stop with the emotions. We have to start thinking logically and see what happened prior to. But you just asked me. What did you just ask me? We're rolling.
I asked you what if we're dealing with triage right now.
Right.
Number one issue, in your opinion, that we need to address first in the black community?
It's not a number one. Variety of issues. I mean, if we're going to speak of the black community, we got to speak of education. We have to speak of economics. We have to speak of safety. And there's not one. I don't go out every day as a black man feeling like I'm going to get shot by a white police officer. And I don't get pulled over and say, okay, sir, first thing, Mr. White Officer, I am a police officer. That, that hasn't stopped me from being, I hadn't been harassed. In fact, I went to an HBCU, Tennessee State, and I was probably, I don't want to say harassed, but I was less harassed by white officers. And I hate to say it because, again, the first thing, you can't speak as a black man in this day and time and not say that a white person has not done something to you. It's unfortunate, but I don't have the issues every day that apparently a lot of our people do. A lot of our people, they wake up racism. It's just race baiting all day, every day.
Well,
and I don't see
everybody's. We can agree that everybody's story is not the same.
Everybody's story is not the same, but come on. Do you really think somebody every single day wakes up and there's an issue every single day dealing with white people?
I don't speak in absolutes, man,
Okay.
because the minute I do, you're gonna run into somebody that's their story.
But I guarantee you, and I'll say this, and then we'll go back to what the original question was. I guarantee if we go to a room and say, let's look at a room of 100 black men, and let's say, now, how many of you have actually been harassed by the police? I guarantee you, half the room won't raise their hands, and I mean truly harassed. I don't mean you actually blew that stop sign. You actually were doing 100 miles an hour in a 45. I don't mean that. I'm just talking about, you just got pulled over because you were in a Porsche and blah, blah, blah. But anyway.
I've been harassed by the police once.
Okay. And how old are you?
50.
And you can really say that, okay.
I was harassed by the police in 27.
And I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying there's people that will wake up and say every day there's an issue with white people. It's the police. It's the white man calling me nigga. It's the blah, blah, blah. And, come on, dude.
March of 2018.
Okay.
I was driving back from Cordele, Georgia.
That was the problem right there. No,
hey man, I'm just calling it what it is.
Right, no doubt.
I'm driving back from Cordele, Georgia, minding my own damn business. Okay. Driving the speed limit.
And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but go ahead. No. Like I said, I'm gonna get called all kind of sellouts.
Driving the speed limit. Had my Waze navigation on, and literally was on the phone with one of my homeboys that was driving back with me. We had just done a performance at Middle Georgia University, whatever.
Gotcha.
And I'm looking on Waze, and I'm seeing, a lot of police activity in the area. Mm-hmm. So I called my homeboy and I said, hey, man, there's a lot of cops out here, according to Waze. Make sure you're not rolling too fast.
No doubt.
So just, a responsible thing to do.
Right.
So we're rolling the speed limit. Cop comes up behind me. And he literally pulls up behind me like this, and he starts just tailing me. Mm-hmm. I passed him, I saw him, a while back. So I passed him, but he pulls up behind me, and then he's just kind of tailing me, and I was like, okay, no big deal. Then he pulls up alongside me. Then he pulls in front of me. And this is where the road that just become like three-way up on three lanes on 75. Mm-hmm. Then he pulls in front of me, and he starts doing this in front of me. And then he pulls on the other side of me, and I'm in the middle lane. Then he pulls back behind me. He does the full
no doubt
thing around me, and then he puts the blue lights on me.
Okay.
Pulls me over. walks up behind me, taps comes up on the passenger side of the car when I pull over, and I roll down the window. Now here's the one thing that I did. See, I'm not one of these people that's sitting here like, I'm not gonna show you
the
my
fuck
ID.
you pulled me over for, officer?
I'm not trying to do that, because at the end of the day, man, my job is I'm trying to get home safely.
Right.
Period. I'm not trying to cause any issues and all that. So before he could even walk up to me, I had my driver's license out, and I had my insurance card visible on my phone. And so he walks up to me, and I had it out ready. I didn't give it to him right away, but I had it ready for him. Roll down the window, and he says, "Do you know why I stopped you?" "No, sir. Have no idea." He said, "Well, I noticed you swerving back there." Now, that was not swerving at all. Hadn't been drinking, hadn't been doing anything, wasn't tired, wasn't sleepy. It was in the middle of the afternoon. Well, it was probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm, about an hour and a half from Atlanta. And I said, well, the only reason I may have swerved was, to avoid you when you came alongside of me, because you kind of came, you came kind of close to me. And he said, and the reason why I remember the date was because I had just gotten my truck a couple of months before.
Gotcha.
And he said, "This your truck?" To break the ice, I said, "Well, it's mine in the banks right now, but yeah." And he's like, "It's a nice truck." I was like, "Thank you." "What you do?" And for anybody, it is a nice truck.
Yeah,
Or at least and at this
The
point,
one you have in the parking lot now, driveway now. Yeah, that is a nice truck.
And at least in 2017,
Oh, man.
it really was a nice truck.
Right.
So, and the officer said, asking me, what I did and where I was coming from and all this. And, I didn't have to answer any of those questions.
Right.
But, because I'm not trying to cause any problems, I'm answering the questions. I'm like, so he's on a fishing expedition at this point, because he's just looking for anything. He had no probable cause for stopping me.
Understood.
Other than the fact that I'm driving by and he saw that this was a
And
black
for the
man.
record, you all, I don't protect the badge when the badge is wrong. Don't get me wrong.
There
Go
was
ahead.
zero probable cause for stopping me,
Gotcha.
other than the fact that I was a black man driving this truck.
I got you.
So then he said, "Well, where are you headed?" And I said, "Well," I said, you rode behind me. You already saw my plates. You saw the Fulton County on my plates. So you probably already know that I'm headed back to Atlanta right now."
Right.
And he said, "Oh, so you being a smart ass." "No," I said, "I'm just being logical."
Right.
And then he said, "Well, I need your license." I said, "Here it is right here." I said, "You've probably already pulled everything."
Which he should have.
When you stop.
I mean, I'm not saying he should have pulled it, but he should have known who you were.
I said, "You've already probably pulled everything,
Right.
but just in case, I have everything right here." And at this point, and my stuff is clean. I've got nothing. And he said, "Well, are you okay?" Because I noticed you swerving.
I got you.
"Yes, officer, I'm fine." He said, "All right then, be safe." Now, is that harassment? Is that could it have been worse? He was looking at, it just happened that I was a cool cucumber. It was happened that, I was a rational individual that stayed, he wasn't going to get a rise out of me.
Right.
But he was looking for a reason I need to call back up. He was looking for a reason. I could see it, and this was a young boy too.
Gotcha.
Still, fresh out of the academy. You could see it on his face. And he was looking for a reason.
I got you.
Just any reason. But I can tell you that's the only time that I've ever been harassed by no, that's not the only time I've been. That's the only time I've ever been harassed by a white cop.
Gotcha.
I have been harassed by a black cop once, and
we don't see that. We don't see that. We just look
the
at
black
it as,
cop that I was harassed by was actually on parking, and this was in Buckhead, and I was actually unloading my vehicle for a gig, and I know this isn't where we meant to go to.
No, where are we meant to go?
But
We need to talk about it. It needs to be talked about. That's why I say we need to talk about it from our point of view, our perspective.
This was a black cop, and this is city of Atlanta, and I was unloading I'm a musician. I'm unloading my gear in a loading zone for a gig that I had at a club in Buckhead. This was in the 90s. So I was a young man in the 90s when Buckhead was
The truth.
Buckhead.
Oh my God.
I was out front.
That's gonna be another show.
So I can tell you where I was. I was out front of the club called Cream. I don't know if you remember Cream.
Yeah. I do.
So I used to
All
have
those spots,
I used to have a gig at Cream.
Okay.
And so we were loading in for my gig at Cream. And this cop comes up to me and says, "You need to move your stuff right now. Officer, I'm actively unloading right now. And, I'm in the loading zone." He's like, "This has no parking whatsoever," but I'm in the loading zone. It says no parking, but it's not like, but it's it's, how the no parking, but it's loaded. He says, "You need to move right now." Well, where else can I load my stuff? He said, "How am I going to get my stuff in?" That's not my problem. You need to move right now. "Officer, if you can just give me 5 minutes to let me finish moving my stuff, I will go park and move, and I'm not going to leave my car right here. I just need 5 minutes to finish unloading my stuff." "Oh, you're going to backtalk me?" Wrote me the ticket. Boom.
Wow.
Right then and there. Wrote me the ticket. He said, "And if you don't move your stuff right now, I will tow your vehicle." And so I had to move my truck, and I ended up having to lug my stuff in 3 blocks up the street.
Wow.
And I got the ticket. So I took here's the funny story. So I took the stuff to City Hall, getting ready to go pay the ticket. And I was but I waited till the day that I had, you can either pay the ticket or go to court on it. And I was showing up to go to court on it. And the officer, the clerk, who was the clerk at the court, it was an officer and the clerk or a sergeant. I don't know how it worked, but when they saw the signature on the ticket, when I got there, the officers, he said, "Man, I'm throwing this thing out." He said, the judge ain't even going to see this. Literally, because the officer that was right there was like, "This officer's an asshole."
Gotcha. I got you. And the funny thing about it,
it's so this other cop literally said, "This officer is an asshole."
and that happens. Believe it or not, that happens.
So anyway, that's 2 different stories that my interaction with. But most of my interactions with police officers have been, generally positive.
But don't say that, because you'll be a sellout. As a black man, you can't say that. In this day and time, you have to, as a black man, we have to stand in line and say, we are all harassed by the police.
No,
especially
man, I am not going to sit here and say that.
But that's what it is. It's a narrative.
I am going to say that most of my interactions with police officers have been generally either neutral.
Good, you will say that. You're brave to say that, because again, come on.
Either neutral or positive.
But again, you know where I'm going.
Well, I know where you're going,
it's
but
an
I'm just
agenda.
But then we say
the liberal agenda is
you
must say as a black man, you get harassed by cops.
We're saying
all the time.
But we started this show off saying we're speaking truth, right?
You're right.
So I'm speaking truth.
But I'm just saying the liberal agenda.
Most of my interactions with police have been either neutral or positive.
Speaking of Buckhead, in the 90s, I had a run-in with a white cop, and I was Mr. Pro-Black then. I was pro-black. Oh my God! And I'm you just doing this because I'm black. And you know the dude, and I'm not gonna go all the way into the whole story. My boy Ross, if you're ever in the city, and we can discuss. Ross tells the story like it is so funny the way he tells it, because Ross is like, I'm sitting in the car with Steve, and Steve is going off on this cop, and I'm sitting here like, okay, we dressed up, and we were dressed pretty nice for Buckhead that night, and he was like, oh my God, we're going to jail, Okay, I already know, Steve, we've been drinking, Steve, and you're talking to this white cop like you know him or like you are just, I don't know what he said, but Ross is like, we are going to jail. And I think I was in the wrong based on where I was parked. I was the only car there, excuse me. Like I said, one day I want to get Ross. I'll get him on the phone one day to tell the story. I could probably get him on the phone now. But that cop let me off, and for some reason, because we hung in Buckhead. You remember just what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You had a gig there.
Yeah.
We black folks started hanging out in Buckhead.
Yeah.
And as you know, there was a particular death that probably caused us not.
Well,
anyway.
that's a whole other story.
Yeah, no doubt. But because we were hanging there, I think police did start hanging out in Buckhead a lot more. And this particular officer and I became friends because of their interaction. Because every time I hung in Buckhead, I would see him and I would say, hey, so-and-so. I forgot his name. It was a weird name. But I would say, hey, so-and-so, remember me? And we became cool. But he didn't do anything to me that night. And I do remember I was in the wrong.
Yeah.
Because of where I parked. And he came and approached me. And he did not approach me with the, hey, you nigger, hey, you blah, blah, blah. He approached me like, look, you are not supposed to be here, blah, blah, blah. Did you see the signs? Pay attention, blah, blah, blah. And I went off as the mad black man. Oh, you just doing this because I'm black and blah, blah, blah. And he stepped back like, oh, Lord. He did. He's like, oh, Lord, here we go. And I was in the wrong. But he let me off and he explained to me, if you look at that sign and look at this is why I'm approaching you. But I was well, it's because I'm black. It's because I'm black. And he was like, again, if you look at the signs, this is why I'm approaching you. If you could, move your vehicle and move it to where it's supposed to be, and we will not have any issues. If you continue with how you're acting, we're going to have some issues.
Man, let me tell y'all something that I can tell you about most cops. And I'm friends with quite a few. Like, this is just real. Listen to this, all right? If y'all don't get anything else from this episode of Can, I'm speaking all the way into the microphone because I need y'all to hear this. All right. All you have to do 90% of the time is say, yes, officer. 90% of the time. As long as you weren't like egregiously speeding or doing something, we're not talking about if they stop you at for speeding or recklessly driving or something. I'm not talking about that. But if if they, tell you to move, keep moving, or you're parked in the wrong place, 90% of the time, all you have to do is comply. Because guess what they don't feel like doing? Paperwork.
Exactly. We hate paperwork.
They don't feel like doing the paperwork of what it takes to write you up, to arrest you, to do anything else. That puts a whole damper on, because then for every arrest they make, that's a court date.
It is, and it's a report. And for not some places, but for some instances, it's a few different types of reports. Be it a DUI, be it a domestic, be it parking, be it whatever. There's different types of reports you have to do, and it's like, my God, I don't feel like doing this type
for something minor,
right?
For something that could be resolved with yes, officer.
Yeah, and a lot of it, and a good majority, we don't know the percentages. That's one thing, and it kind of goes back to what we wanted to talk about with this first show. Even though this is a second show, we just didn't have the audio for the first show, is we want to explain that sometimes I get lost of where we're going. But anyway, as far as dealing with police, dang, where was I going? It was something good too. Oh my God. Anyway, We don't want to do. We don't want to do a lot of reports. We don't want to deal with a lot of harassment. We don't want to. We're out here to do a job for the most part.
And at the end of the day, you want to make it home. Everybody wants to go home at the end of the day.
But the liberal media wants to take us to a whole nother. The liberal media wants to have us divided, have us hating the police, and I'm gonna say a good majority of the people that I've worked with, and I've been in law enforcement for 13 years, are about the citizens. I'm not gonna say all, by no means, by no means.
So, the dumbest talking point that ever happened that liberal media, liberal forces ever came up with, and it's the dumbest thing. And we're gonna have to wrap the show up in a second, man. But when they came up with the whole defund the police thing,
Oh man, that was ignorant as hell.
that was the dumbest statement
But they ran with it. They ran
that
with it because they knew what they were gonna do.
that they ran with. I mean, defund the police? Really? That's what y'all are gonna go with?
And you see where it's gotten us. You see where it has gotten us. It's gotten us in a lot worse position than we were before all this started happening. Because again, I think it goes back to the logical thinking versus emotional thinking. And again, they understand what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Let's deal with the emotions. Let's deal with emotions because logical thinkers, we don't want a lot of logical thinkers out here because we have logical thinkers,
But-
then it's going to make sense. But we deal with the emotional thinkers, we're going to take them to a place where it's like, this is all, as you know, emotionally, if you see one thing happen emotionally, you think everything is like that. I've been like that in particular positions, be it relationships, be it dealing with my child, being with, these are all these are different topics that we're going to deal with this show.
Yeah, I don't think the liberals have exclusivity on.
They don't have
emotion-
exclusivity, but
on
I'd say a
emotion.
high percentage.
No,
they have a high percentage.
I think you have, whether you on the extremes, extreme liberalism, extreme.
Okay, let's
right-wing,
look at the two then.
on-
The
on-
two
on-
major. What's the two major cable news networks?
Fox News, CNN,
Exactly.
And
And
they-
one's liberal and one is conservative.
And I think they are the right wing, left wing.
Right. And one is going to show you this police shooting forever, and the other is going to say, well, let's really look at what happened prior to. Are they not?
One is going to show you a liberal perspective,
Right.
and one is going to show you an ultra conservative perspective.
Oh, so you're going to say that the one is not going to show an ultra left?
No, absolutely. I'm
You
sorry.
just said-
I'm sorry.
you
If
said
I,
a
if I
liberal versus
okay.
an ultra.
Okay, if let
Conservative.
me correct my words. I'm not trying to come across biased right now.
Okay.
I'm not trying. No, ultra liberal, ultra conservative.
Okay.
Neither one is going to show you what Fox likes to say, fair and balanced. They say fair and balanced all the time, and it makes me cringe because they're anything but. Mm-hmm. CNN says whatever. I don't even know what they're saying is, but that's the same, and they're anything but.
Right.
And it actually, they both give me cringe because
all day.
because neither one is painting a balanced picture
By no means.
of what's going on for real.
And that's what we're going to do, by the way.
That's
anyway, go ahead.
that's our attempt.
That's what we are going to do. So
And that's
for
our
you all-
attempt. And that's our attempt anyway.
For
And,
you
and, and the reality is, and if you see us not doing that, in the comments, call us on it, because that's our goal, is to be, not
biased.
down the middle, but not biased.
It's three of us, you all. One is not here tonight. One is probably middle left. One is probably middle right, and one is probably middle. I think I'm gonna say I'm more middle, leaning more right. I think John will say is middle, leaning a little more left. And when Kevin gets here, I think he's definitely middle right. If not more, definitely more right. And this doesn't say that, hey, we are sitting out here. You will never hear us say we are MAGA and pro and blah, blah, blah. We're going to try to come from the middle class perspective Again, I'm not coming from the pro-black. I understand we are black. I love my heritage. I know a little bit about my heritage. I know enough about my heritage to say, hey, I can speak on it. There's some of us that's just out here that's just, hey, it's all black, 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 black. No, I have white friends. I have Asian friends. I have black friends. I love I love them. I don't want to sound like that. Oh, my best friend is this, my best, and I do. I have a.
I love them all, but I'm pro-black.
Yeah, well, when you say pro-black, that to me, in this day and time, says that if it ain't black and it's pro-black, it ain't right, and blah blah. But that ain't.
That's not what it means, though.
To a certain extent, in this day and time, I'm just going by. We have to look at the day and time of certain things, and we will discuss it. Now, I'm gonna say this. I know John says we need to wrap it up in school. I want to discuss why we're here. I've made some posts throughout the years, and a young man approached me, and it made me. I was really like, "Wow, you." He said, "Look here, dude. Your posts make people laugh. They probably make people cry, but most importantly, they make people think." And I didn't really think about it because I was kind of a class clown growing up. And he approached me. This is one of the baddest producers in Atlanta. And I mean bad and good, as in good. John Beal, he approached me. He's like, look here, dude, you need a podcast. And I was like, I never thought about it like that. People have said you need to get on stage. You need to do this. You need to do that. You're funny. You're this. I think there's times when everybody's kind of funny and kind of sad and kind of good at what they do. And there's times like lately, I feel I haven't been. There's been, we're human beings, and I've been not necessarily myself lately. I haven't been, so therefore I hadn't been on social media. I don't want to say specific ones. Specific. We try to talk educated here. Specific one. Yeah. Pacific. I don't want to say the Pacific.
I won't be Pacific.
Yeah.
I'll be Atlantic.
Ones. But I like to get out. I like to get out, express myself. I've always been a person who has expressed himself, be it good or bad, and I think for the most part I do like to make people laugh. I like to, and it's not a thing of wanting attention. It's a thing of I like to see everybody happy. We live in a crazy world, and if you allow this world to get to you, it can make you unhappy quicker than it can make you happy. If you are a thinker and if you are independent of all the nonsense going on out there, you will be happy most of the times because you are one who thinks for yourself. There's been situations that we've all gone through. I've gone through a whole lot of situations, and even at 57 years old, I've gone through situations that I've never faced before, and it has changed me. It's really changed me, really recently. And that's, and it's not for the worse, it's for the better. So I say that to say, I can appreciate John approaching me. I can appreciate him saying, hey, John is one of the baddest boys in production, period. I don't give a damn what anybody says. It's not about, you have to understand, we look at the Quincy Jones, we look at the Jimmy Jams and Terry Lewis, we look at the George Dukes, and all these guys are great at what they do. And a lot of times we ignore the local Atlanta. John is one of the baddest boys out here. And I say that, and the reason I mentioned the Quincy Jones and the George Dukes, they started where John is. And, they grew to where they are. International or national and international. John is that guy. So I say that to say when John approached me, I was like, what? He was like, look here, dude, you need a podcast. And I'm like, me? I've had people approach me and say, hey, you need to be on stage. You're funny. And I go back. Some people will look at me and say, he's funny. Well, you got to look at it. I look at one of the greatest comedians of all time, one of the greatest, probably top 5, Chris Rock. Chris Rock said, people approach me often, and wherever I am, they expect me to be funny. You can't be funny all the time. You can't be funny 24/7. He says, I may sometimes be the most quiet person in the room. And I say that to say, for those that are looking and saying, you? But there's a lot of people out there that have said, dude, you need to be on stage. You need to do this. I appreciate those guys. And I appreciate the John Beal who says, dude, I got a studio. I already got it set up for you. You need it. Let's do it. And I'm like, damn, let's do it. So with that being said, on top of everything else, here's where we are. This is our second time. The first time the audio didn't get taken, and our boy Kev is not with us. Kev is a guy that one of the baddest boys singing wise that I've ever known. Kev came down here in '92, won the Apollo, and he'll be here next time to introduce himself. I'm just kind of introducing him. And Kev to me is like that Jamie Foxx. He's funny, yet can sing his ass off. And I've always wanted to do something with Kev. I never knew I wanted to do anything with John Beal because I never knew that I could reach that level. Not saying I could reach Kev's level, because Kev is one of the greatest singers, in my opinion, who's never really made it. But we're here now. We're here. I guess we started from the bottom, now we're here. I appreciate John more than he knows. Here's where we are. I told him, I gave him the scenario of, who knows, the first show may not be great. The second show may not be. The first year may not be great. But we hope to grow. We hope to grow on you. We are out here. I came up with a name. The Crew, because you got The View. Then you got The Chew from the cooking channel. John said those names are most likely. I was going to say The Crew. Those names may be taken. But John also said, John, what I like about John, and I like about anybody, and there's other people I'm going to speak of in my life throughout this whole thing, just like John and all of us, that have made me step my game up. John said, hey, that's cool, but we need a dope name. We need a name that's going to stand out. And I thought, and I was like, wow, I'm at work thinking, I'm at overnight thinking. I came up with what did I say? The
Cool Ass Nerdy Dudes.
Yeah, the Cool Ass Nerdy Dudes podcast. And what made me look at that and come up with that was, I look at people our age. We need people our age, and we need just regular people that give you something interesting, something that you think about every day, but you can't express it. And here we are. We want you to be able to express yourself, be it through relationships, finance, health. We want to talk about everything that you may go through, especially at this age. We're in our 50s, and let you know that it's okay. So
Yep.
We're not going to always get it right. It's not because I'm 57. Because I'm 57 doesn't mean I'm always going to get it right. I'm not. I don't always get it right. It's crazy out here. You still have a chance. Every day you wake up, you have a chance to do it again. You're not going to always get it right. I don't care if it's finance. I don't care if it's relationships. I don't care if it's health. But the day you wake up again, you need to say, I'm going to give it another shot. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to know that it's time to give it another shot. And give it your best shot. Because, we're at that age where it's like we're in the middle now. But we have a damn crazy, this is a crazy generation right here. We came up when R&B and soul was going out and hip hop was coming in. And
We got a good story, man.
yeah, we do. So, we're here for you. We're here to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. And it's not going to always be cut and dry. It's not going to always be, what's the lowest? We're not going to always say, well, we're not going to sugarcoat shit. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
We're not going to play to the lowest common denominator.
There you go.
That's
We're
bottom
gonna
line.
come at you. We're going to come at you. And we want you to come at us.
Yeah.
We're going to hopefully make you laugh, make you cry, make you think, but hopefully we'll make you, the most important thing that we want to make you is better. Because don't feel because you're a particular age that it's over. It's not. I've made bad decisions. I'm going to make another bad decision. You're not going to always get it right. You're not. Oh my God. You're not going to always get it right. But the thing is, we're here to help you get through it, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. We are Can. Cool Ass Nerdy Dudes podcast. And another reason I'm gonna end it.
We got to end it, man.
I gotta end it. One of the
reasons.
reasons I came up with this because I see people our age that I hate. One thing I hate about us is we get to a particular point where we're starting to chase an image. Be you. Be you. What's the saying? Be you because something about be you because somebody else is already taken, or don't try to be somebody. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to come back next time and say it. But anyway, be you. Be you. Don't worry about trying to be somebody else. Don't worry about the fact that you've made a bad decision. Don't worry about the fact that you've made a mistake. We all make them. We've made them. We're going to continue. None of us are on this bad boy living a perfect life. None of us. We need to encourage each other. We need to encourage each other. I see a lot of brothers out here, and that's what made me say about the cool ass nerdy dudes. We're cool as hell, but we're nerdy. We're not trying to have an image.
We got to wrap it up, man.
We got to wrap it up. We're not trying to live up on this image. We are not about an image. Let's just understand you're not gonna always get it right, okay, people? You're not gonna always get it right. But you once you wake up tomorrow, you got another chance, all right?
That's what we're going to leave it on, man. When you wake up tomorrow, you got another chance. My man.
My man, I enjoyed it.
Yes,
This
sir.
is our second time. Kev will be here next time.
Yes, sir.
We got a hell of a vibe. We're coming back with you people. Hopefully we can make this thing happen, blow it up, and give you something to look forward to every day. Right on. Peace. This is a journey.